Hi, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us again for our live Q&A session where you take your questions about U.S. immigration law to provide educational answers on what's going on with the whole system. We're happy to help you with that. It is October 18, 2022. We're almost done with October, almost done with the year. Fast times, how it goes, but we're here live on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and YouTube to take your questions. You can always catch clips of these on our Clips channel, Immigration U.S. immigration talk clips. There's hundreds, if not thousands of them at this point, but also these clips all over the social media world and stuff in long form here. You have an ebook called the Marriage Immigration Guide, the Ultimate Marriage Immigration Guide, which help you a lot if you're interested in the fiance visa, in the marriage green card case. Go to www.marriageimmigration.law and you can catch it there. It's going to give you a lot of help. We've helped hundreds and hundreds of people with that ebook, so it's a wonderful service. And finally, if you are watching the live show, we give away free video consultations. We have 3. Each one is around 15 minutes in time. Just, private consultation separate from this. All you got to do is watch the live show, click like and subscribe wherever you're watching this. My wonderful assistant, every 10 minutes for this 30-minute show, will announce a winner to behind the scenes, which I'll name off. And that way you get a free video consultation. We talk with you about your case in private, and we get a little more detail about it. Because sometimes a lot of times you can't talk about all the details here because it's such a public forum. But having said that, let's get the show started. Yeah, Zaman says hi to you as well. Thanks for coming in. Our first question comes from Mohammed. Mohammed asks, hey, I applied for the I-130. Can I still apply for a lottery? Yes, you can. You can have multiple petitions going on at the same time for immigration cases. So an I-130 petition is when a family member applies for your case. If you have that pending and you want to apply for the green card lottery, which you should do right now if you're applicable, it's open for this month. So if you are interested in the green card lottery called the diversity visa lottery, we did a 1-hour breakdown and answering every single question possible on this on our YouTube page. Check it out. It's very detailed. We're putting timestamps on there so you could jump to the questions that are important to you. But yeah, you should file for the lottery if you win it. You could have two. You can have multiple. You could have your brother filing for I-130, your parent filing I-130, a spouse, and also the green card lottery, and also employer filing I-140. You can have all these going at the same time. Inevitably, one of them is going to be the green card case. But if you have multiple plan A, B, C, and D, why not do something like that? It's going to be a good thing to do. But thank you for your question, Mohammed. We have a question on Instagram. Someone asked, case was updated to show fingerprints were taken. What do they mean? My case was removal of conditions green card. So when you do a removal of conditions from I-751, there's a fingerprinting appointment. They call it biometrics appointment. They take your photo too. If you had adjusted status or had a previous immigration case in the United States that required your fingerprints, they waive that and just use those fingerprints, but you may not have had one in this case. But the update on the USCIS.gov website just means that they've accepted your fingerprints and just took care of that part of the case, but you need to wait longer. I-751 removal of condition cases are taking forever. It could be 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, even more for it to be adjudicated and finished. If you have been married with a U.S. citizen, you should look into applying for citizenship if it's appropriate. I don't know the facts of your case, but you should look into applying for citizenship because it'll speed things up to a large extent. That's my policy. Not every law firm does that. But if we have these I-751 removal of condition cases, because they take so long, while it's pending, we file for U.S. citizenship so that we get that in too. And a lot of times, U.S. citizenship case works faster, and because of that, it gets to where we need to go faster. So that's something important to check out, and that's that. But thank you for your question. So the timelines in immigration have gotten worse and worse. We have a question. I'll talk about that in a second. Marlon asks, "Good evening, sir. If CBP takes you to a room and asks a few questions and then lets you be on your way, does that count as a detention?" That's a good question. Does it count as detention or not? I had a colleague who had a case, a green card case, where they went to the interview with USCIS and did not mention being held by CBP. The CBP are the customs officer at the airport. When you enter, they take you aside and ask you questions. And the officer in this one case asked, "Have you been detained?" And the client said no. And they asked, "Have you been detained?" And they're like, "No, I haven't." And they got angry and they said, "No, I've seen that you've been detained once at the airport. Why are you lying to me?" And it's like, "Oh, I didn't know that was considered being detained." So I heard this and I went and asked the chief of one of the major airports, the customs CBP chief at the airport. I'm like, "Do you consider this being detained?" And they said, "No, if you're detained, we're going to tell you you're detained. If we take just segment ask questions, we don't consider that being detained." So what's the answer? It depends on whoever is handling your case, the government, what they want to deal with. I don't say these are detained. I don't acknowledge these as being detained with USCIS unless there's some more that goes on to it. But if it does pop up, it's one of the we prep our clients, and there had been a situation like this. I'd say, okay, if the officer wants to push it, which is rare. I think it was a dumb thing for them to push. But if they do, you could jump in there and say, oh, the airport did this. I'm not sure what it means. It's up to you, but I was at the airport. Beforehand, we always talk with our clients about this, know exactly what happened, so we're prepared. If needed, we do a freedom of information request, a FOIA request, so we learn potentially records of what happened, because we don't want to apply a case and then find out later if the problem's happening. That does happen sometimes because we don't have access to all the information. But the goal is to have the best the best knowledge possible, so we don't enter a room blind and get blindsided. That could be problematic. So, is it attained? Depends on who you ask. But I don't typically and do that, and most USCI stops I've dealt with don't care about that. And CBP chief of one of the major airports in the United States didn't care either. So take it as you will. But thank you for your question. I'm gonna jump to Instagram really quick. Got a question over here. And Nabita says, I'm a U.S. citizen. I applied for my husband's case. My case was approved, but I was told to fill out Form I-824, and it's taking forever. I'm sorry to hear that. We do a lot of videos on the I-824. If you go to Google and you type in I-824, all the first 5 videos that come up are from our law firm, because we deal with this issue a lot. We handle these cases a lot. And unfortunately, it takes a long time. What happened here is probably you filed for an I-130 petition, and then I-130 is a spouse, so it's a U.S. citizen filing for a spouse, probably in this case, and the spouse is overseas. And in the application, the petition for I-130 petition, it says, are you going to finish the case in the United States, adjustment of status, or are you going to do it through the embassy system? And a lot of time when people do on their own, either they fill out both boxes, they list both the U.S. and outside, or they don't list anything, or they say they're doing the U.S., but they don't list the embassy. In these scenarios, USCIS will interpret it as if they're going to just do the case in the United States, and they keep the paperwork here. Once that's happened, what you have to do is file Form I-824, has its own filing fee, and takes between 3 months, almost 2 years, for them to transfer the case from the U.S. to the National Visa Center, to the embassy. It's ridiculous how long it takes. It should be a simple process. There's something I wish Congress would get involved with, because there shouldn't be a need for this. If we make the request, they should just do it. It's just a matter of putting an envelope, mailing out. I mean, I don't know all the details. Maybe I'm wrong. But to wait 3, 6, 10 months, a year, or something like that is horrible. Now, I did have one case, because we do a lot of videos on this. We have a lot of people come to us. We do a large number of consults and cases with regards to I-24. We had one case recently. We filed the I-24, was approved within 4 weeks. And if you're on Instagram, I put the approval notice that's coming up, a sample of the redacted approval notice so people see. So it could be as fast as 4 weeks to have in this case. We were blown away. I wish I could say I did something special that happened that fast, but it's really just random luck of who at the government gets a case and how lucky you are. I have so many cases that are past 6 months and still nothing's happened. And the worst part about it is, even if the I-24 is approved, the USCIS doesn't always do the job of sending the case to the National Visa Center. After approval, you still have to contact them sometimes and keep pushing and pushing them to actually do the case and get it done. So I'm sorry to hear that you have to go through the I-24 process, but hopefully it gets better. And then Imran asks, more than 4 months have gone, my RFU is received. I still not getting contact. What should I do? You have to wait. It is what it is. There's no deadline for responding to an RFE with USCIS once you submit it. But then to reply. Mark follows up, how can I find the current processing times for different U.S. embassies? You can't. We don't have access to their proper processing times for immigrant visas. Ahmad asks, hi from North Carolina. Well, thank you for joining us, Ahmad. It's 8 o'clock there. God bless you. Mary Farn asks, I filed the I-24 and I sent it to the Arizona Center from the USS website. But my center is Potomac Center in Virginia. Is that good? It's not good or bad. Just it's in their hands, and you just have to wait for it to be approved and done. Mo says, hi from Virginia. Thank you so much, Mo. Thanks for joining us. It's cool to have people from all across the country. Abia says, hi, Abby, to you too. Walker asks, hi, I'm a green card holder. I applied for wife. It's been 1 year, no approval yet. When you apply, did you apply for adjustment of status or an I-130? Unfortunately, the I-130 process for green card holders is taking 2+ years in many cases. I have a person consulted with me. They have a green card. They filed for their wife. It's been over 2 years, and the I-130 petition has not been approved yet. That's a disaster. But things are just backed up and on hold, and there's a lot of waiting involved, unfortunately. Paul asks, I filed the I-130 petition and got a notice of action and pending biometrics date, does that mean approval? No, not at all. When you get approval, it says approval. So if you file the I-130 petition and ask for biometrics, you probably mean you did adjustment of status. So you got to wait for things to play out. I don't know the details of your case. It's hard to answer, just pieces of information like this. But an approval, they'll say approval on it. Mohammed follows up, how to avoid filing the I-24. It depends. If you're doing an I-130 petition, a family case, you got to just do it properly and list the right stuff. If you're going to go through the embassy system, list the embassy. If you're doing adjustment status. But there's another scenario where the I-824 pops up, and that's if, for example, you get your green card in the United States based on family or employment, but your spouse or your children are overseas. You will still need to file I-824 to get the case that was approved in the United States to the embassy to finish it off for the family. So, for example, I have a case of a guy, he's Indian, was working in the United States, got his green card. His wife was in India. Now that his case was approved based on employment, his EB case, EB3 case, or EB2 or 3, we have to send an I-824 to notify the government to send the case to the National Data Center so his wife in India could finish the case. Nothing else we can do about that. Ideally, his wife would have been here with him in the U.S., and she would have been able to adjust that at the same time. But now it's going to probably take 2+ years out of India, so it's going to be out of control. Boston Nation, hi from Iowa. Cool. We're getting people from all across the country. It's wonderful. Shuma asks, I applied for asylum. How many days for work permit? You have to wait 6 months or 5 months or something to file for work permit. It's just whenever it happens. There's a lot of lawsuits on this issue, so I don't have timeline answers. Sandy says, how long will it take to respond to notice of denied from USPS? Almost 5 months. There's no deadline. Can you share progress of 6-month green card thing, please? I don't know what you mean by the progress of 6-month green card thing. So just kind of be more specific in what you're asking, and hopefully I can answer it. Boss Nation follows up. My wife filed for our 3 kids. My wife doesn't make much money. I do make enough money to cover the affidavit. What should I do, please? I know I can't advise into individual legal guidance because I don't know all the details. But if you are lawfully in the U.S. and lawfully earning money with a work permit or a green card or citizenship, you could be a household member for an affidavit support potentially. I would need to just review the case, see what's going on, all these different things. So that's the general thing. You'd come in as an affidavit support household member or sponsor, but I don't know enough details to answer. That's more of a private consultation thing. Farhan asks, where is your office? So I'm in Los Angeles. I have an associate who's in Orange County. I have another associate who's in Virginia, but we do everything by video, email, and regular mail. So the office location doesn't matter unless you need someone to come to an interview with you. So just email the office, let us know what your immigration issue is and where you are, and that'll help us. Mohammed follows up, God bless you. I-240 is needed for U.S. citizen or just green card holder? I-240 is needed for people who get a green card in the process. So it's not a U.S. citizen green card holder distinction. If you get a green card, if you want a green card and you mess it up with things I talked about, the question is really match what's going on I-240, but it's not a differentiation based on citizenship or green card, the way you're putting it. I'll say whenever regular. It's good to see you. Hi, John. How are you doing? I'm doing good. Things are really great. We've grown our law firm team. We have several attorneys now. We're doing litigation for people who have delayed cases. We're doing more and more humanitarian cases like the Bawa case. We're doing employment-based cases, EB2, EB3, H-1B. These are things which have paused for many years in my firm, but we have really good attorneys handling this stuff and an extended team. We just had a video on TikTok do really well. It was really fun. I got to know a lot of people from it. So thank the Lord, things are going really great. I hope it's safe for you all. Really quick, I do want to announce our winner of the first winner of our raffle, Boss Nation. If you're still watching, please take a screenshot of where you're watching this so I can see our username and email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com. That's info@jqqlaw.com or email. And so I know it's you, and I'll reply with a link to have a quick 50-minute video consultation where you get talking private about your case. So thank you for those just tuning in to a live show. We give away free video consultations. We have 2 more to go to give out, and another one probably in 5 minutes, another in 15 minutes, where you could do a live video consultation private. We talk about your case. All you gotta do is like and subscribe and write consultation in the comment section, and my wonderful assistant Katrina will name somebody off in that time period. If you're interested in a marriage or fiance case, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Again, the website is www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Even if you're not interested in marriage or immigration, download it. You'll be amazed how much information I put in there that can potentially help in your case and show how open I am with giving away the information. Quick question on Instagram. Abby says, my asylum case was transferred from Chicago to Los Angeles office due to change of address, would I be required to undergo a second interview on the new office? Could you please, I don't handle asylum cases, so I don't want to go into talking about a case type that I just don't touch. It's been 10 years plus I've done asylum case. So I wouldn't want to answer a question. I don't know that I don't handle regularly. Sorry about that, but thank you for your question. Joel Hornet asks, hello, sir. A person who has been deported at the border, where should I request a FOIA? You should make a OBIM FOIA. You should also make a CBP FOIA. Those are the two FOIAs that you should get. Why not supersede another one of regulars? Good night, sir. I hope you're doing well and keeping safe. God bless. God bless you too. Doing great. Exercise. I exercised a little too much last week, so I was exhausted over the weekend, but I'm getting back into it. Thanks so much. Adria asks, my husband has his interview in Ciudad Juarez next month. Any advice? It's hard to say generally, but just to have prepared, have all the documentation you need ready to go, so you can answer the questions there. For Ciudad Juarez, you have to do your medical checkup first, and then later on you do the interview. So prep for that. But it depends on your unique case, the specific kind of guidance I give, other than just being prepared with what you need to have. But thank you for your question. Azul asks, hi, if I had my biometrics appointments last month, how long is it going to take to get a work permit if it is through marriage U.S. citizen? There's no relationship or correlation between biometrics being taken and the issuance of the work permit. So there's no answer to that question, unfortunately. Sean Bed asks, is advanced parole safe travel? It depends on your background, whether having advanced parole travel is safe or not. If you have issues like criminal history or any other things, it could be problematic. I would not travel on advanced parole unless it's really urgent to need to do something like that. But if you need to use it, but I don't know if it's safe. This is too hard to, on an anonymous forum like this to say is it safe for you to do something like that. I can't really answer that. You should talk with a lawyer in private, but be aware that it's not a guarantee that you're able to re-enter the United States with advanced parole after you left, even if it's clean. Now, I've never seen, none of my clients have ever had issue with traveling on advanced parole. A lot of them do. But it depends on the facts of your case, and you might get unlucky. But generally, you just want to make sure your background's clean and take it from there. Walker asks, after citizenship interview, how long does it take for the ceremony? It's up to your local office and how their scheduling is. So it could vary. 1 day, 6 months, it could be out of it. Rustam asks, does only Nebraska Service Center process refugee travel documents? If so, what is the actual processing time frame? I don't keep track of that stuff. I don't really submit refugee travel documents, but there's no actual time frame for anything in immigration, frankly. So just got to submit it and wait and hope for the best. Boss Nation follows up. I'm a green card holder, and so is it advisable to file Form I-64A? We'll talk about that in a private session. I can't tell you what's advisable or not in your case, but a green card holder can be a household member, but we have to get more information in case, and I can't give individual legal guidance in a forum like this. Mary asks, if my son has a felony, can he still get citizenship? Probably not, but he might get deported, but it depends on what the felony is, what charges are. There's a lot going on there, so I really can't answer that one. Nadia said, hi, John. How are you? Good to see you. Good to speak with you. Next question. Farg has my work permit applied. How much time does it take? I don't have an answer of how long these will take. Leslie says, I'm waiting for my asylum interview since 2015. Do you have any suggestions for me? If you're really eager to get your interview, you could try filing a lawsuit for the delay. That's a suggestion right there. But that's about it. Other than that, you guys got to wait. Sandeep asks, can I travel with the green card pending my notice of intent to deny response to the United States? It's not wise to do something like that because your case get denied while you're overseas. So, you should talk to a lawyer in private. It's not a wise thing to do. That's all I got to say about that. Marlon asks, sir, if a person comes through customs processing and didn't pay the $220 green card fee before leaving the country, how does the person acquire a green card after arrival? Well, you pay the fee and that's it. So either you pay before you come or after you come. They say it's better to pay beforehand, so it goes in the system already, but they just pay afterwards. That's about it. Question mark Sue says, Presidential Commission recommended to reduce processing time to green card applications to just 6 months and remove all backlogs by April 23. Any insight into that? Yeah, just because the Presidential Commission says something, they say a lot of things, so it doesn't make a difference. Practically speaking, they don't have the ability to make things faster. So these commissions, stuff is worthless. Don't follow any of the, there's a lot of videos, and my friends, people I know do YouTube videos, immigration lawyers, about the bills that are being passed and potential changes in immigration law. 99.9% is worthless and not worth your time, although they get a lot of views. It's clickbait, completely worthless. it just, you got to see what happens. So what some commission says, completely worthless. Don't spend your time researching and reading into that stuff. Ken asks, my dad got citizenship from USA and he's doing a file for my brother and his family. How long will it take? I don't know, 12 years or something like that. It depends on if you're married or not, all this kind of stuff. But what do you do? My associate, my assistant, Katrina, just named you, Kenny Vishant, as the winner of our green card lottery. I'm not saying the free consultation raffle. Please take a screenshot where you're watching this and email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com. And we'll schedule a private consultation. I can answer a couple of your questions there in private. For those just tuning in, for the live show, we give away free video consultations, 15-minute consultation, no cost. All you gotta do is like and subscribe, write comments wherever you're watching this. We have one more to give away in 8 minutes or less. So stay tuned, write consultation. Hopefully, my assistant will name off somebody, and it might be you. Soy asks, hello, my dad fought for my mom to come to America. It's been 3, still to answer any advice. I'm not sure 3 what, but you should talk to them. I don't know. It's just too much vague a thing to answer. I don't know what your dad did exactly. If he did the paperwork right, if he lost stuff, and got lost in the mail. I don't really know. So the advice is talk with the lawyer, talk with the professional. Carmen asks, can I apply for adjustment of status if I already have an I-130 for consular processing pending? I'm in the USA for about 2 months already. Well, yeah, technically you can. You got to be careful. The embassy doesn't terminate your case mistakenly, the National Visa Center, so that's a separate issue. But also, if you enter the U.S. with something like a tourist visa, they might accuse you of having immigrant intent. You came with the intent to file for a green card and accuse you of fraud. So we need to see the whole picture of your case, what kind of visa you had to enter, why you decided to enter and file for adjustment status. There's a lot of factors we have to analyze here to see if it's a good idea to do something like this, along with the issue I talked about, notifying National Visa Center later, so they don't terminate your case for inactivity while it's pending with USCIS. A lot of things going on. I leave it at a high level like that. Something that's a private consultation is needed to talk about, really. Sweet Fudge asks, I filed for the I-130, married a U.S. citizen in April, got my social security number, EAD, but still waiting for the green card. Congrats. Hopefully you get it sooner. Thank you for coming on the show. MJ asks, I filed the I-75 on waiver petition 6 months ago. How long will it take for an interview? 6 months, a year and a half. Maybe no interview. They deny it. Anything's possible. Probably it'll be another year or a year and a half. But it's all over the place. Marlon says, thank you, sir. You're welcome. Abu says, I filed my I-130 for my husband on green card. Both are on USA. It's almost 2 years with no response yet. I-130 for my husband. Both are on USA. I'm not sure why you have 2 husbands. The question isn't clear. I need to just see what's going on with your case to be able to answer that. But we got to go into more details to see what exactly is happening and take it from there. So, with these green card cases, I said at the beginning of the show, the timelines are out of control. So if you're a green card holder filing an I-130 and your spouse is overseas, it might be 2 years before the I-130 is approved, before they'll get to the National Visa Center. So it's a mess. Carmen asks, I entered the visitor visa together with my son. So visitor visa says you're intending to come for temporary purposes as a tourist. But if you came with the intent to file for adjustment of status, that's a problem. Now, if you came and then changed your mind, that's another thing. But you should talk with the attorney in private about something like this. Paul Brown asks, I filed the I-130 I-485 green card application, receive an I-797 notice. What does that mean? I-797 notice is whenever notice of action is whenever the government has a communication with you, they send out a form called I-797 notice of action. For immigration lawyer, it means nothing. It just means the government sent you a message. What's important is what is in that message. And a lot of people file their own case on these websites. They get caught up in the notice of action 1, NOA 2. This is like no immigration lawyer talks like that. Is it a receipt? Is it a biometrics appointment? Is it an RFE? Is it approval notice? Is it a notice of intent to deny? Is it a transfer notice? We got to see what the contents of it is. Probably you just got the receipt and you got to wait for a biometrics appointment. If you didn't send a medical checkup, they'll send you a request for that. Appointment notice, potentially a request for evidence. So we just got to see what's going on. Apu says we are both in the United States, so that's good. You should have filed adjustment of status and not just the I-130. If it's 2 years, your spouse is probably out of status at this point. So Apu, it's probably better to talk to a lawyer in private because there's too many details we need to know to give a proper answer. Carmen says, thank you, you're welcome. Abby says, do you recommend travel out of the country, the I-131? I think you mean advanced parole. I've already answered this question has been asked. Do I recommend it? I don't have any recommendations for someone I don't know. It's a case-by-case basis. I generally recommend people do not travel, but if you got it properly, your immigration history is good, which I don't know if it is in your case, then if you really need to travel, then do it. But I don't know anything about your background, your case, so I can't really advise or recommend anything to you in any shape or form. 2D asks that USCIS has a processing tab that says 1 week, but has been 2 weeks. Is that new? With regard to anything about processing times for USCIS, just don't pay attention at all. These are not reliable things. So the people get hung up on this stuff and they analyze it too much. These are general statistics based on like a million cases, and the way they analyze it is really confusing. So it's a worthless endeavor to go and review processing times unless it's really taking too long. You could file a lawsuit based on exorbitant delay. So I think we have maybe one more question. When to submit a medical exam. So when you're doing your green card case in the United States, adjustment of status is a form I-693, a medical checkup that you have to do. When to send it depends on usually what kind of case you have, the strategy. When we do marriage adjustment cases, because there's almost always an interview, they rarely waive the interview. I have my clients get the medical checkup after filing the case so they could go in person and hand it to the officer. Unless the person has some sort of medical history that we want to get the medical checkup first to see what the doctor is going to say. So we know it's not going to be problematic for the case. But if it's clean medical history, we do it after filing. On the other hand, if you're doing an employment-based case, which traditionally and typically doesn't have an interview, then we try to do the medical checkup beforehand and send it with the application to the government so that they don't ask for it later and the case gets done hopefully a little bit faster. Having said that, there is a moratorium on this because of COVID, so they've relaxed the rules. But essentially, when you submit the case, if you do the medical checkup beforehand, the medical checkup has to be done within 60 days of the filing of the adjustment status application. Sometimes we have situations where the person does a medical checkup, but it takes forever to get us the final document that we need, and it goes past 60 days. So then we have to do a new medical checkup. So if we feel like these kind of things are happening and we don't want to waste your time and money, we don't get the medical checkup. Also, sometimes, I had a case where we sent the medical checkup with the adjustment of status application. It was a marriage case. And the client used a credit card, and they had a fraud warning on it saying the Chicago lockbox wants to take out $1,760. Is this approved? And the client didn't understand the Chicago lockbox is USCIS. And they said, no, we don't approve this transaction. And USCIS then returned the case, rejected it for lack of fee payment. By the time we got aware of this and the fee came back, the medical had expired and the person had spent another $500 to get a new medical. So, it's like you kind of play this stuff by ear and strategy and you talk to your clients, but you learn from experience. We have like 1 minute, so one or two more questions. And then we got also named a raffle lottery winner, Katrina. Leprosy asks, I petitioned for my husband who was in removal and was asked a Bonafide marriage exception. Yeah. He wrote exception, him attorney can write both. You should talk to the attorney in private. So if you get married while the person's in removal proceedings and file the I-130 petition to get a green card, they have inclinations to doubt that this relationship is real because you started the case when they're being deported. So maybe they're trying to help, something like that, to get them out of deportation. So you have to file this marriage exemption. It's a whole package we create based on your personal statements, potentially other documentation relationship. There's a high standard. It's to be clear and convincing evidence. It's a high standard. And so your attorney should be able to just do everything for you, work with you, get this done. It's too mixed of the topic to talk about here. Before we leave, I have one or two questions I can answer, but Marlon Samuels, you are last winner of our lottery for today. Please take a screenshot where you're watching this so I can see your username. Email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and we could schedule a private video consultation and talk more there. Paul Brown says, can you get an RFE after getting biometric appointments? Yes, you can. Usually biometric appointments in the normal conditions come pretty fast. So again, these are all unrelated. When the work permit comes and the RFE comes, they're not connected necessarily. I'll take two more questions. Christian asks, I've done, Marlon, how long does it take to respond? It varies. Christian asks, I've done my medical checkup around June of this year. Can I submit it along with AOS this month? How long is medical valid? So under regular rules, no, you took too long, so the medical is invalid. USCIS has put some sort of moratorium on the timelines. I don't know what they are exactly because I never have to deal with it. It's not something I've memorized. I'll go to USCIS.com or .gov to check out what it is. But this is an example of reason we don't want people to do their medical because it could expire. There is a relaxation in the law due to COVID, but I just go by the old law when I work with my clients. I don't take advantage of this relaxation because I don't want to mess around and have them be confused. I'll go to USCIS.gov and check that out. And last question, I love 76. How much time does it take for a refugee child document? I applied it takes whenever USCIS gets around with it. That's really it. So thank you, everybody. I'll give you one more question on Instagram. No questions, sir. Just want to say thank you for all the information you provide. Well, that's so kind of you, Ashley Dar. Very kind of you. God bless you. And thank you everyone for coming on. We're here every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'm going on vacation next week, and I'm still going to do this live on vacation. So I'll see you all there. It's a pleasure seeing you. And again, yeah, just that's about it. If you want to have a private consultation, just email us at info@jklaw.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so we get more love and action on the YouTube algorithm. God bless everyone. Be safe, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.